Hi, I'm Mike Barlow from GMP Kit, and in the next 4 to 5 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can calculate your internal cost of poor quality. So if you are a quality manager, a quality director, site head of quality, or chief quality officer, this is a tool that you can use to take the cost of quality model and focus it into internal cost of poor quality and assign numbers to quantify your internal COPQ. It's a free tool and it's easy to use. So before we jump into the tool, let's talk about the model itself and just define terms. So what we're using here is the total cost of quality. You can divide that into cost of good quality and cost of poor quality. In cost of good quality, we have prevention. These are all your quality systems. And we have appraisal. These are your QC monitoring systems. In cost of poor quality, we have external failures. External failures are failures that occur on product that has already been released. This is no longer in your control. But what we want to really focus on for the purpose of this conversation is your internal cost of poor quality. These are the poor quality failures and cost drivers that are at your site before release of product that are completely within your control. So now that we've defined terms, let's jump into the tool. In order to access this, you go to gmpkit.com and you push this green button, Calculate COPQ. It takes you to a free tool, and this tool is completely anonymous. You can have the information emailed to you, but you do not have to enter an email and definitely not a credit card. It's a free tool. So I'm going to hit Explore the Model. And let me close this for a second so we can just talk about the cost drivers. These are the primary cost drivers that the model calculates. We have batch failures, deviation rate, scrap and rework, documentation rework, and employee attrition. The tool will calculate your costs and it'll generate results here. And then finally, if you like, you can see all of the formulas and you can check the math and understand how these values are derived. So this is for the people who are deeply analytical and they want to know, where did that number come from? All the inputs and calculations are there. So let me show you how this works. Let's start with batch failures. This is usually the biggest COPQ driver. And now how the tool works, you'll get this kind of scoreboard up here. Let's say that your company produces 100 batches a year. Let's say you can use the slider like this, or you can say our success rate is 93%. So 93% last year, we can kind of expect the same result if nothing changes going into this year. And then let's say this is an antibody production facility. So a batch costs $950,000. So what this tells you now is with 100 batches a year and a success rate of 93%, you're losing 7 batches at $950K each. And then it gives you the total cost, $6.6 million, and then it runs the tally at the top of the screen. You can email this to yourself at any time. But now let's say, okay, we lost these batches. Now we have to investigate these failures. How much are these investigations costing us? Let's say you have just a couple of investigations a month, but you're spending over 100 hours on these investigations. If they're contaminations, maybe more. So the labor cost, how much are you paying your investigators? We'll just leave this at $50 for now. That's $240,000 in investigation costs. Now, for each of those batches, you have scrap and rework. So we lost buffers, we lost medias, and we have to remake those. Same idea, use the sliders, plug in the values, and you can calculate the cost of all the scrap and rework. Documentation rework has to do with manufacturing batch record review, quality record review, QC micro record review. Anytime you have a record cycle and there's rework because the documentation was incorrect. So if those are not your problems, you can just turn these off. But if you're tracking those, you can add those to the tally. So let me jump ahead here for the sake of time. All the results are totalized here. Again, you can have this report emailed to you. And then finally, if you want to see the formulas, you can go in and you can see all of the COPQ formulas, all of our inputs, and all of the math that we're using. So this is the tour of the COPQ calculator, again, completely free. You can access this at gmpkit.com. Just push the Calculate COPQ button to access the tool.